Well, as we make our way back, Stacy Harris has been kind enough today to come in with her family and bring us some delicious wild game. She's got a book, Happy Healthy Family, Tracking the Outdoors in Nutritious Wild Game Fish and Vegetables that are exceptionally delicious and surprisingly easy to prepare, which I guess, Stacy, is the question you get the most, because you talked about this, that for most people when it comes to wild game, and, we came up with a Rick and Bubba shirt that I think really says it all, deer, the original organic free-range meat.
Amen to that.
We always talk about healthy eating, but then you'll find people that are concerned about healthy eating, but you'll find out they don't eat wild game. And really, wild game can be some of the most nutritious, healthy meats, especially available. And so you have kind of taken this on from a female perspective, because they're not all families, but a lot of families you meet, the man hunts, so he prepares the meal, and then mama either doesn't want anything to do with it.
Right.
Like at our house, my dad would always cook the wild game. Mom would not go near it, wouldn't have anything to do with it.
Or they're scared of it.
Yeah, and you're saying surprisingly easy to prepare, and I think that's what a lot of women are saying. Look, I know what to do at the grocery store, but when this starts coming in the house, I don't know how to prepare the meat. Don't know how it should be marinated. How do you get the game taste out of it? And you've taken that on.
Well, to me, I'm a mother of 7. And so I'm really, really busy, and I need something easy to prepare. And wild game, when we first got married, Scott would bring home, he hunted, when we first got married, he hunted almost every morning and every afternoon, and that had to wane off because that wasn't good for our marriage. Right. But, at all. But we had freezers just, full of meat, and I didn't want to cook it because, first of all, I didn't like it, and then it was just I thought it was just too hard, just really too hard to prepare. But as I started studying on the meat, it's just different. And in my book, I go through what to do, and it doesn't take any longer than preparing any other kind of meat, and it's actually tastier because you get a lot deeper flavor from this and other wild game, quail, pheasant, and all kinds of things, and really chicken doesn't really have much of a flavor. It's easy to prepare, but it really doesn't have a whole lot of flavor. Wild turkey is great, and it is not tough like people think it is. You can really, really bring out the flavor of those meats.
Look, Rick, turkey pot pie.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, let me ask you.
Well, so you're a convert in a lot of ways. You were like a lot of moms, a lot of wives. They're glad their husband enjoys hunting. It certainly beats out doing other activities that could get them in trouble.
Yes, it does.
And they just don't like the taste. You grew up, you're a beef chicken kind of concept. So you decided you were going to change that.
Well, I had to, because if my husband, what was I going to do? I had no freezer space, and so I was like, it's either that or or no meat at all.
Right.
So
Well, you see that a lot, because there's, like Bubba said, there's a lot of men who hunt for the outdoors. It's a wonderful time to spend, dads to spend with their children, and it's a great experience. But for a lot of people, they don't want to waste the meat. Now, obviously, there's in a lot of states you can donate the meat, which is a great program. But there are a lot of houses that have right now wild game in a freezer.
Right.
But yet the meals are still coming from the grocery store.
And they don't have any money either.
Yeah, and the meat is sitting there because Daddy didn't want to waste it.
Yes.
And then Mama's over here not wanting to prepare it.
Right.
And the kids are saying, well, we've never tried it, so it might be different.
Right.
And you're saying, look, this.
Wow, you been to my house?
Yeah, well, this is a great food resource, and it's not something that you just eat because you don't want to waste it. Eat it because it tastes good if you do it right.
Right, and economically.
Yeah.
We don't hardly spend any money at the grocery store on meat. Now, they will go on a deep sea fishing, trip, and they get, enough fish for the year, and we don't have to buy it. Now, granted, that costs something, but you have a memory, you have, you've got family camaraderie, you've got something to look forward to, you've got the fish, and then, hunting, trips, or if you have hunting land, in some places, you can go out free on, hunting, and also, economically it's great. And also, just health-wise, there's nothing better. There's no antibiotics.
Well, let's talk about health-wise. What are some of the health? You mentioned one that it doesn't have any of the steroids and antibiotics in it.
It's low fat, low cholesterol. It's got, it's got all the vitamins and nutrients that any other meat has. It's obviously full of protein, and it has no antibiotics and no hormones. So, and what other meat can you get? You can't go to the grocery store and get that, or if you do, you're going to pay astronomical
Yeah,
prices.
if you go organic chicken, organic beef,
Right.
you're going to pay more than
than getting a hunting license for sure.
Yeah.
So for sure.
Now the guys have fallen in love today with the lettuce wraps that are made from quail meat, and I love quail.
Yes.
Quail is so tasty, and like you said,
it's coming back.
It's got much more flavor than a chicken has.
It does.
And so tell us, is this a pretty simple dish?
It is really, really easy. Yes, and if all the other groceries, I do not shop anywhere but Costco and Walmart if I can help it, because I have way too much to get.
7 kids.
So exactly, and we do have chickens now, and I can go out to get the eggs outside, but and I have cooked some of those, but
you're kind of like a mini Duggar family.
There are. you're like Duggars in training.
There you go. That's right. They're really cool people.
They really are.
I love that show. I wish we were that.
How about this? I go this far, fascinating.
Yeah, they are fascinating. Yeah. I don't know how they do it, and it's amazing. But I guess they come one at a time, so it's not like all at one time. But but anyway, back to the
lettuce wraps.
The lettuce wraps. They're very easy to prepare, and you can order quail. So if people could, don't have a place to
We've
get,
done that.
You can order them, and they're not that expensive, and you can order them alive too, and let them go and shoot them if you want
and
to.
Which because in a lot of the markets that listen to us right now, the quail population, unfortunately, has all but gone away, and so it has come to farm raised quail, and they put them out, and you go out and hunt them, and a lot of them will fly pretty good.
Some of them are making a comeback.
But some
now,
of them
Rick,
are making a comeback.
And I think a lot of that has to do with good hunting regulations and the fact that we are taking out a lot of their predators, the coyotes and bobcats, who do not have a predator now. Right. Because we all know there's no cougars here in Alabama.
Oh, absolutely.
In our state. So, but I've run into 2 or 3 natural coveys out the last few years, and that's really cool to see that.
I have too. So hopefully that'll make a comeback. But you can order quail either ready to cook or if you want them live, you can do that too. And a lot of people do that.
They do. And, on our website, we post, some of these places that you can get some of these things. I don't know that I have them posted now, but I will next week. And we also do heirloom gardening. And so we'll post also where to get rare
Now, is that where you garden with things that's been passed down through your family?
Yeah, it's been passed down through, well, kind of. It's been passed down through, the ages. And heirloom seeds are great because they reproduce every year.
So you in this book, we'll come back and we'll take some questions.
I'm going to tell you the pictures of the food in here, some of the best food pictures I've ever seen. I know that just sounds odd, but I love good if it's going to be a cookbook, the food has to look good in the pictures, and it does.
So is this book available just wherever books are sold?
That's a great book.
They are. You can go to Amazon.com. You can go to my website at www.gameandgarden.com.
Gameandgarden.com.
Right.
Amazon, as you said, other book outlets. It's called Happy Healthy Family, Tracking the Outdoors In by Stacy Harris. You got questions for her about preparation of wild game, especially ladies who this is kind of catering to try to prepare this stuff for your family? 866-WE-BE-BIG. We'll take some questions from you and talk more with Stacy when we come right back. And the food is delicious. Hang on.
Rick and Bubba.
Website of Stacy Harris, preparing some of the dishes from the cookbook, Happy Healthy Family, Tracking the Outdoors In. This is how to properly prepare wild game and fish. And also how to grow your own vegetables. That's part of it too. And the economy and the way things are going, it also makes financial sense. And trust me, if Obama goes in 4 more years, you better get this cookbook and learn it real good. There's going to be people.
And if you live close to Adler, there's a lot of good soil. You grow your own garden.
That's what you need to do.
Yeah,
especially corn.
Yeah.
So and I'll probably take it a step further. At our farm, I'm actually teaching the kids too how to fend off an overzealous government. That's probably going a little far with it.
I don't think you're going too far with that.
I don't. But the food part.
If you've seen the numbers of firearms being sold lately, somebody's teaching somebody something.
Yeah.
Daddy, now once again, where? In the head. Remember, in the head. All right, let's go to Amanda. Amanda has a question for
G. Gordon Liddy.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
He won an award for that, by the way. That statement.
Of course, it is what the Second Amendment was about, but some people can't seem to stomach that. Stacy Harris, you're on with Amanda. Amanda, go ahead. Ask the question.
Stacy, hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. I've been married to an avid hunter for 8 years, and he's been out of a job about a year now, and we always had our meat processed and the fee sometimes here lately has been just too much for us to be able to afford. Is it safe, and are we going to be able to process and package our meat and freeze it ourselves?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Since I've been married to my husband, some people call him tight or cheap or whatever you want to, call him. And,
let's say frugal.
Frugal. Yeah.
Wise.
He's a dentist in Montgomery, Alabama, and he does, very well. But we don't like to spend money where it doesn't have to be spent. And I'm not saying people shouldn't get their deer processed, but it's not very hard. And that might be something that I might need to do a video on. I don't do it, but my sons could do a video, and we could put it on the website.
Oh, that would be great.
And it's just not hard. And it takes probably about 30 minutes. He takes it in, he wraps it up, in freezer paper, and you could, invest in one of those vacuum pack freezer,
right.
things. But we don't have one. They just wrap it up in a double layer of freezer paper and, put it in the freezer, label it, the date. But you won't have it in your freezer very long if you get the cookbook, because it will, you will be cooking this meat. I
am so excited about your cookbook. Thank you so much, because sometimes basically we would have it made to ground beef, and that's how I would cook it. But I've been dying for different recipes to do with it, because it's a great resource to be able to use the meat that we have.
Yeah, and when you think about, and I know a lot of people have just done the ground beef because it's simple and you need to have some of that. It's great to do. But I'm telling you, until you've had a venison tenderloin prepared properly.
Yes.
I mean, buddy, you talk
divine.
about delicious. And you made some of that for us today. What did you make for us today with the loin? It was really good.
I did a stuffed loin, and it had Parmesan cheese, breadcrumbs, a few herbs and spices, and really that was about it. And you just butterfly it. And I have a technique for that, and I do have a video of that, and I think it's on my website. I'm not sure, but how to butterfly a loin.
Yeah, and you've got some of it in here. I know some step-by-step pictures on
yes,
how to
and
do
that
something.
one is a step-by-step picture, because that was kind of hard.
Right in the middle.
It's not hard, but it's hard to learn. I mean, you need to probably have instruction.
All right, one of the things that people take on when dealing with game is, how do I make sure it doesn't taste gamey? And we've talked about some of the hunting.
Is that like fish tasting fishy?
Yeah.
I've always thought that was an interesting statement.
But really, and I don't want to be gross or anything like that, but the bottom line of what people are calling a gamey taste, what they really mean is the blood has not been properly drained from the meat, and as we were told to do by God when Noah got off the ark. But it really has to do with that. You need to make sure the meat is taken care of properly, so you don't have that aftertaste and that metal taste that some people don't like.
And if you do it yourself, my family leaves it in the refrigerator for about 5 days, and the meat can you put a tray under where it doesn't sit in its own blood, and the blood will drain off of that. But it really, I don't taste that gamey taste. If you prepare this the way that I'm telling you to prepare it, you're not going to taste it. It's just great. I mean, we just salt and pepper it at times, a loin, and just brown the outside, and there you have it. I mean, it is that easy.
Now, you also used some in a stew that you made for us.
I did.
I know it's fancier than this, but to me, it's a beef stew.
Right.
It's made with chunks of venison, which is really good.
That's right, and it's based off of both bourguignon, in France, but it's actually just venison bourguignon, venison stew. It's just a peasant dish from how they did it in France, and you just brown the meat, and then you put in the ingredients, which is just your carrots and onions and thicken the stew, and it's just fabulous. I mean, you just can't get any better than that.
Another thing in the book too, ladies, is you have a lot of stuff in here about how to prepare delicious desserts with fresh berries and things like that as well.
Yes.
And
you can grow them yourself. And you don't think of pomegranates growing here, in Alabama, but we got some pomegranate trees last year, and they're actually producing pomegranates. I mean, the first year we planted them, beautiful big pomegranates. And
I saw your husband eating a handful of those.
Yeah, yeah, and they're really good with wild game. Really, really good with wild game and salads and And
now,
things.
are you also, because I look at your children, the ones that are here today, So are they all becoming like
Yes.
little proteges to know how to do this?
They know
I
how
can tell.
they do, and all of them hunt, and and that they all can really process their own deer. And I've got each one of them doing different things. I think especially helping out with this book. It's been really neat because their talents and gifts have really coming out. And my oldest son, is really into the organic gardening, the heirloom gardening, the seeds. He orders all of our seeds. He plants the entire garden. He plans the entire garden. And my other son is real computer oriented, so he helped do everything with this book because I didn't even know how to email before we started.
She said she didn't know how to email, and
That's
you
funny.
self-publish. I know some people came along later and helped you.
I'll
but
tell you, this book looks
the
great.
quality is really, really something, and it is a cookbook. I mean, it's just one recipe after another.
Yeah, and your website is very informative, and I see here what we're showing now for those of you that can't see is it says Kids Cook Off 2 or whatever.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
what are they competing in? And it's amazing that you and your husband have been able to get the kids so involved to where they look really into it.
Oh, they are way into it, and they are having so much fun. And I think I went outside on one of these with my mom. We had coffee outside, and I just let them do the filming, them do the editing of it, them just do everything, and they love to compete. My kids just love to compete. Do all kids love to compete?
Yes.
Yes.
And so they want to know who is the winner. They do not want to, you did good on this, and who is the winner? And and we show the winner. We do that at the end, and they know how to cook, and they know what things go together, and they know what things taste good together, and they experiment with it, and it's so much fun.
So you sit down and actually taste the plate and
I
the
tell
meal
them who
and
won. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, you can get this book, and I really think this is because when we wrote this, and Bubba and I are a little blurb on the back of this, and I find this to be true most often. People who say they don't like wild game have never had it prepared properly.
That is exactly right. It's better than anything you can get at the supermarket.
And one of the things that you can learn about this is, and look, if your family kind of has a standoff feeling about wild game, just don't tell them that's what it is first time you give it to them.
Yeah.
Then when they tell you how great it was, you go, hey, how'd you enjoy that venison? What?
Yes.
You can trick them into trying it too.
You can.
And so if you can get this book, we've got
The old trick try.
the information at rickandbubba.com, gameandgarden.com, buckmasters.com has videos, amazon.com, you can get it there. The name of it is Happy Healthy Family, Tracking the Outdoors In by Stacy Harris. Those recipes are there, and she talks about the health benefits and, of course, the delicious taste of wild game.
It's great.
Yeah, don't think you're trying to eat healthy and it's not going to taste good.
No,
Let's
it's
face
great.
it, nobody likes to do that.
No.
I mean, I like to eat healthy and not know I'm eating healthy. But it's good. So, Stacy, thanks for being here. Thanks for preparing for the Golden Ticket seats and all of us here today. The food was delicious.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll come back. More of the Rick and Bubba Show continues. 866-WE-BE-BIG is our toll-free number.